Okay. Let's get it.
Episode 2.
Episode 2 or 3.
Actually,
or 4.
3.
Who freaking knows?
Second in the day.
Yeah.
Maybe third episode?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Whatever. We're just going to keep going today. Okay. You know what? I was just like, we were just talking about this. I like the idea how we are like starting out with like just like one camera and then like maybe 2 cameras, and then eventually we'll get this like whole like video thing all sorted out, which could be kind of cool.
They'll have a team.
I never had video in any of the ones that me and Lily did, but I kind of wish we did.
It was always the hard. It was the sticking point for sure.
Yeah.
It was the difficulty of it was because you have to obviously cut things together, blah 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 blah. But it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, like our whole like setup here is like
it's very
like,
simplistic,
semi-professional, kind of Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. You're a camera guy. I like my cameras. So,
yeah. But I think it sounds pretty good, which I think is like the main thing for a podcast. So
absolutely,
we're all right there. So, all right, buddy, let's dive into it. Okay, so this one I kind of want to talk about. So for this one, I want to talk about you a bit. I want to talk about your family. I want to talk about Aurelia's journey.
Dude.
You want to get into that today?
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it.
So I kind of sprung that on you a bit there, but yeah, let's, I know this has been like quite a journey for you, and it kind of leads into like how like you and I like connected again and that kind of thing. So
that's true. That is true.
Yeah. So we'll recap a little bit about like mine and you, like mine and you, me and you, and like how our like friendship came to be. So we met on a really weird real estate thing where we were both supposed to show the same house.
Yep.
Got a little awkward, but then it was like super cool because we chatted for a bit, and then just like we're like we should hang out, which honestly I don't generally do this with other realtors, but like I said, you and I just kind of hit it off just because
sure you don't.
You were cool. Yeah, I have so many realtor friends that I do podcasts with. Oh, you're my 5th podcast today, man.
Dude.
So anyway, we hit it off. We went and had coffee a little while later. Ended up chatting. You told me about a podcast that you were doing, which kind of spurred me into getting my own podcast done. You had a podcast. I listened to every single episode, was a super fanboy about it. And then I started a podcast. We went back and forth, had coffee a few times. And then, my mom, last year, she fell down her back steps and broke both of her legs. And in December, and she was in the hospital for like 5 months. And while I was in the hospital, you were also in the hospital.
Yeah.
So why don't we start there and pick up with the story at that point, and you can kind of give me the rundown.
Yeah, because our daughter came a little bit early. She was like, I guess 37 weeks is a full-term baby, so she was like 32 weeks. So about, a month and a half, maybe even 2 months early. So we had her at the Royal Alec, which we were both at. And we were in the NICU for a month and 2 days, where you have to kind of like visit her. And like, for us, we were very lucky because it wasn't a situation where she was like needing really any support or anything like that. It was just like she needed to grow bigger and like learn how to eat. And then
so what is that? Okay, well, I'll just like run it down for the dummies, like us dummies, the dad dummies that are like that don't know anything about like babies and premature babies.
I didn't know anything at the time either.
So what did you learn like while doing that? Pass me that power cord if you don't mind.
Everything. Which one?
The one for the laptop there.
Okay.
Sorry, it's just
I learned everything.
Okay.
Because like we had the support of a NICU staff that takes care of babies for a living. So I got to like watch. It was a hack for me. I recommend every dad go to the NICU to begin with.
Oh, really?
Because you actually learn so much.
Really?
It was very, very interesting to watch. And like they showed us how to like calm her down. And like, you would never know how to do that.
Oh.
You would never know how to do that.
I still don't know how to do that. Try and calm down a 12-year-old, Josh.
Yeah.
Tell me if it still works.
Yeah. Like, and how to like feed her properly and how to do all these different things. And like, it was like, I was grateful for the experience because it was like a crash course.
Right.
Which was very nice because like, you don't know what you're getting into.
No.
You have no idea.
No.
But yeah, no, like I thought it was a very positive experience, which I know for a lot of people it's not.
Yeah, I was going to say, it feels like it'd be like super stressful.
It was stressful because we were there like 7 or 8 hours a day. And then you have to go home. Right? Like you have to like leave her behind, which really.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
too,
which really sucks. Every single night you have to think about like, and you can stay overnight, but like there's not really accommodation.
Staying in hospitals sucks, man. It's the worst.
Yeah. So, and I mean, we lived very close at the time, so it wasn't for us. It was like a 5-minute drive type of thing. So it didn't really make a difference if we were to stay over or not.
Right. But I mean, you got to leave your baby at home every night. And, or not at home.
At the hospital.
At the hospital. And that's not fun, especially with a brand new baby too. Cause like, you're just like, you want to soak up all those like first moments and stuff. And yeah.
So, I mean, we did get our first moments, but they were obviously, in a NICU, which
was she in an incubator?
They have those like I guess they're incubated. They're not really. It's just like a temperature controlled like box,
like pod sort of thing,
kind of. Yeah, where they like like they can take the top off and like you can. But yeah, it's just to essentially keep them at a temperature and everything.
What's with the temperature? Why do you need to control the temperature?
Because I don't know.
Oh. Well, there's something you didn't learn.
I don't have no idea. Yeah, essentially to like keep them because they want to be
maybe because they're like slightly malnourished or something like that because they have to.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's more so to like keep them closer to body temperature. So that it's like because they can't regulate their temperature. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
So it was like a 20. I think I always saw it like 28 degrees Celsius and room temperature is like 21, 20.
Oh, okay.
So they're a little bit warmer than room temperature.
Oh yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
So then it's probably just like a better atmosphere for just like growth and like getting them to be like
And after a week, they took her out of it and just put her in like a open air. Yeah. Like, like a normal
bassinet type of
exactly.
Thing.
Yeah. And she was on oxygen, like just supplementary. Yeah. For about the same period of time.
Yeah.
So
at the time that I saw you in the hospital when we met, like what stage was she at?
That would have been already. She had moved to like the ward that we were like getting discharged from.
Right. So yeah, I remember you saying that you were like getting close to being on your way home at that point.
Yes. So she would have already been like, the only thing we would have been working on with her was like, eat the bottle.
Yeah.
Eat the damn bottle. Yeah, she still had
which
like
is not that bad.
Yeah, which she still had like a gastric tube because like she just didn't know how to eat the bottle properly. But it was at that point it was like how many days till she learns how to do this? And
right.
Yeah. So yeah, that would have been closer to the end of the month we were there. I want to say
a month.
Yeah.
Shit, that's crazy. So you spent her full first month of her life was spent in the NICU or at the Royal Alec Hospital.
Yep, and we were there every day.
Every day. Yeah. And did you enjoy your time there with the food at the Royal Alec?
Dude, go to Triple O's.
Triple O's, I ate there a couple times.
It's good. It's good.
There. Yeah, they had good burgers.
Yeah, it's good. We ate there a few times.
Yeah. The old Tim Hortons that's always open down
actually,
there.
the Trends coffee's not bad.
Trends, yeah, I did get Trends. I did get the Trends coffee one day too. Yeah.
So shout out to those places.
Shout out.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we definitely were like antsy. We were like, we gotta break her out of here.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
Yeah. But no, overall good experience in like obviously based on the circumstances or whatever. It was still it sucked, but it was also like a learning. It definitely like brought us up to speed.
Totally. It kind of makes reality, like it kicks you in the nuts really fast with reality where it's like, holy shit, like this is, because like my experience was so much different than that.
Yeah.
Like the exact opposite. Like literally the exact opposite. Like Stacey was like walking around, and she was supposed to be like in labor, and like her water hadn't broken yet. Mm-hmm. And the nurse was like, we were actually just talking about this, like I think like last night or the night before or something like that. And stupid microphones. See, this is what I mean when I say our setup is just slightly Mickey Mouse. So anyway, we were just talking about this, and like Stacey's like, yeah, I was just like walking around, and the girl's like, yeah, you're not in labor enough. So she like basically broke her water for her, and then it was like 0 to 100. She was like ready to go, and then I think like Lily was born. Like probably Stacey's gonna like. Oh, she's never gonna listen to this, so it doesn't matter. But she's like, I think it was like probably an hour after that or something like that. She was like in full labor, and then like having Lily at like 10 o'clock at night, and then so we had Lily, and then we like basically within, I think it was like within 48 hours, within 24 hours of like Lily, like we stayed the night because she had her at like 10:30 at night or something like that. So we obviously stayed that night,
and then they
discharged us the next day. They didn't kick us out. We like Stacey was like begging. She's like, "Can I go? I want to go home." Like discharge us. I think they wanted us to stay another night, but we were like, "No, we want to go." And then so we like left that night.
Nice.
The next day.
Yeah.
So it was like quick. So it was way different from your experience. I was there for less than 24 hours, for less than 48 hours, and you were there for a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. That is crazy. So how was Rebecca with the whole thing?
I think it was obviously like you're stunned, right? Like there's not really, you're not really able to like process it.
Yeah.
So, but
did it bug her, like not being able to
totally.
like, be with Aurelia?
It bugged her way more than I think it bugged me, because
for sure.
how moms are in the beginning and everything. So yeah, it bugged her a lot.
It's such a different experience, I think, for the moms.
Oh, for sure. Like, yeah, it was like, you're carrying this baby, and then all of a sudden, not in you anymore, right? So yeah, no, it was. I think it was more difficult for her by orders of magnitude, but yeah, it was. I don't know. It was an experience.
Yeah. Well, no shit. No shit. And now things are pretty good. Like,
oh yeah.
How is like, okay, so yeah, so let's move on to like what's life now like home from the hospital. So how old is Aurelia?
She's gonna be 9 months.
9 months.
Middle of this month.
Okay.
So
she's been at home for 8 of those.
Yes. And how preemies are, they technically are actually like their due date. So she's actually technically only 7 months old in quotation marks.
Okay.
But she's more in line with like the milestones and stuff of a 9-month-old. It's kind of interesting to like.
Oh.
I don't know how they really do that because it's really subjective.
Mm-hmm.
But no, like, I mean, we're into like a routine of like, get up in the morning and around her wake up as whatever 7:30.
Yeah.
Feed her, play with her, hang out, get her to go back to sleep like 2 hours later.
Yeah.
She takes 3 naps during the day. I get to work generally. I'm writing my book, so I get to go in the office.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that at some point.
Okay. And then go to the coffee shop or whatever.
Yeah.
Get out of the house a little bit, and then I generally come home, help a little bit.
Yeah.
With dinner, back to sleep. Just do it all over again.
Rinse and repeat.
It is kind of like, it is kind of the Twilight Zone where it's a repetitive
day.
Yeah, every single day is the same. But no, it's very like I love it that I'm actually there.
Yeah.
Because I think like a lot of dads don't get the opportunity to be there for like the stage.
Yeah, it's true.
So like I've got to watch her, like she's almost crawling now. So like I get to watch her like, fall on her face every couple of attempts and stuff. So
that's fun, man.
It is cool to watch.
Yeah. Those milestones are super awesome. Like the first crawl, the first walk, the first words, like all those things are just like, they're so great.
Oh yeah. No, it's the smile was the first one.
The
smile one just like hits you, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
I think I love this thing.
Yeah.
And then it's
right. I think it is the smile that triggers it.
And then it's
like,
the laugh, and then you're like, oh.
And then you spend the rest of your life just trying. You get the first laugh, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm officially like transforming myself into a comedian for this child, because literally my whole life revolves around trying to hear my daughter laugh. Right?
It's pretty true.
And it doesn't stop ever.
Yeah.
Right? This is the, I'm just realizing this in this moment. This is the essence of why dad jokes exist. Because we try so hard to make our kids laugh, like, cause that's like the best thing ever. And then at some point we just realize that our material gets so old that it turns into dad jokes, and they just don't think it's funny anymore.
100%.
Yeah. I'm getting there with Lily.
She doesn't understand anything I'm saying, so
it's a bunch of goo goo gaga, blah blah blah.
Yeah. We try to like adult talk her instead of doing the baby talk. Yeah, because we don't want to like give her a speech impediment or something. But yeah, it's been enjoyable.
I think we did the same thing with Lily. Actually, I think we talk more stupid baby talk to our dog than we did to Lily ever.
Yeah. That's it's funny because like there's certain times you're like, you understand what I'm saying, don't you? And like, I don't know.
She winks at you.
Yeah. No, I have this
points a gun.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. No, I have this whole thing that people are incarnated, so I'm gonna ask her who she was in her past life and see where that
one day
leads
she's
us.
Just gonna like start talking to you like an actual.
I know.
It's gonna be just you and her, and then she's gonna talk, and then she's gonna tell you about who she was.
Yeah.
At like 11 months, and then you're just gonna be like, nobody's gonna believe you.
No,
you have to put it in your book.
This is true. So no, it's very cool. I do recommend becoming a dad at some point in your life, gents. So
that's cool, man. Yeah. So okay. So that's the big thing. I thought, for some reason I thought that was gonna take a lot longer than it did. How long has that been?
15 minutes.
Are we at 15 minutes already?
Yeah, dude.
Okay, that's not bad. Yeah. Okay. Well, we want to jump into...
You have like interview questions for me.
I didn't even have any, no. I wish I did, actually. I wish I had thought that through a little bit more. I'm like, let's just talk about this. I'm like, that'll take a half an hour.
Yeah. Well, see what happens.
Sure didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can do me.
Yeah.
If you want.
Tell me your story.
Okay.
What's your story?
What's my story, man? What's my background? Oh God. So,
because I'm like testing you because this is like 12 years ago.
Yeah. We went through the birth stuff. Yeah. So that's done. Oh, so
were you home all the time? Like how was that? Like were you in real estate at the time?
I was. Yeah. I was in real estate even before me and Stacey got together. So we met actually via real estate. So
cool.
I got to be home for all the milestone stuff and all that kind of thing too. Yeah. So I totally echo what you said and concur with the fact that it's really cool to be around for all that shit, because it's just like you're right. You miss it, and then, you're told about it later, and I could just I think there was a couple of things that happened when I wasn't there or I was out or something like that. And, Stacey told me about it and I was like, oh, that sucks, man. I'm like, I'm sucks that I missed it. And then when you see it the first time, you're like, it's fine now. Yeah. It's totally fine. Yeah. I missed it, but at least I still get to see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like for us, so one funny thing that happened during the birth. Were you in the delivery room?
Oh yeah,
you were.
Oh yeah. The whole
did it traumatize you at all?
Well,
or do you have
the whole thing about there's a curtain and shit and it's not you see the whole thing.
Yeah.
I was because
were you north or south of the border?
I'll be honest, man. I was 48 hours, essentially zero sleep. So by the time by the time it happened, I was completely I don't even know. It was just it was totally a blur.
That's fair.
Yeah. If you asked me to recount it, I could, but at the same time, I was so, dude, in between contractions, we both fell asleep.
No shit, really?
Yeah, dude.
Because you were that tired?
We were that tired.
Oh, wow.
There's a contraction and we'd fall asleep. And it's like, oh, time to go again.
Oh, this is crazy.
And then we
man.
fall asleep again.
This is like so much different from my experience.
No, dude, it was
so much.
It was 48 hours of just like testing my entire being. Yeah.
God. Okay, so for me, like I said, this is just like, it was like one moment I was all wow wee wah wah, and then the next moment it's like,
Oh.
boom, we're in this thing, and it's like, everything's happening. So we're just like, I'm north of the border because I don't really want
Fair
anything to do with like the visual aspect of this thing.
That's fair. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'm at the up by the pillow holding hands.
Sure.
One weird thing, and I mean, maybe it's weird, maybe it's not, but like Allison, Stacey's best friend, was in the delivery room with us too. So that was a thing that was like predetermined long before I was ever even a thought in anybody's minds that was going to be something that was going to happen. So I was just like, okay, I'm rolling with it, whatever. Best friends in the delivery room also. So anyway, so she's in there with us, and everything's happening. And it turned out that I think Lily had the umbilical cord wrapped around her neck or something like that.
Oh.
So they had to. That's funny. And Allison like literally just texted me like as we're talking about her. Super creepy. That battery died. Okay, yeah. That's fine. So we are like getting ready. Shit's happening. And it's my job. My job is to like announce the sex of the baby because we didn't find out, right?
Oh, okay.
So we were like in my opinion, and I'm glad Stacey was on board with this with me, is that there's like so few like real like surprises in life anymore that we just wanted this one. Do you know what I mean?
I like that.
So we were like, we didn't really care that like we didn't have like the right colors picked out for like clothes and rooms and shit like that. We're not like that kind of prep people. We don't really give a shit that much. So
well, we weren't either.
Yeah. So like for us, it was like, it didn't matter to find out. So we were like, we wanted to like, find out. It would have been a cool surprise.
Yep.
So it was my job to like announce that. That was my like whole I think that was really my whole purpose for being in the room. So Lily had the umbilical cord, I think, wrapped around her neck. And there was like, I don't really understand all the, like how this thing all works. One of our really good friends is actually well, I don't know what her official title is, but she's a baby doctor. She's like the doctor that, in fact, she might have even like saw Rebecca when she was pregnant, because her whole thing is like when babies are like having issues or something like that, she's like the doctor who like helps with that.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you remember all your doctors before? Do you remember any of their names or anything?
Yeah,
like that?
we'll throw it out after this.
Yeah. That's fine. I mean, like, I don't mind mentioning her on the podcast.
Oh, go for it.
Her name is Christy Cook.
No.
Okay. And she actually worked at the Alec too. So
that's cool.
It's interesting that I thought maybe she might have been, but anyway, so we were talking to her about it, and she was like telling us like the technical terms about it the other day. So umbilical cord wrapped around the neck. They needed to do something with like to kind of like pull her out or move her around somehow.
Yeah.
And so they got this tool that looks like a plunger, and it like basically like they stick it to the baby's head, and then they rotate him and pull him out or something like that. I don't fucking know, man. Honestly, it's weird as shit to me, the whole thing. So anyway, they do this, and like as Lily's coming out, I decide in my infinite wisdom that this is the moment that I really want to go see what's going on south of the border. So I go and I check it out, and like Lily is out, which is cool. And then they pull this thing off of her head, and her head looks like a fucking, like literally like a cone. Nice. Like she looks like she's got like, and all I can think of is our baby's a fucking cone head. Right. And everybody's looking at me, right? And that's like, I'm like just stunned because I feel like they broke my baby's head. And I'm just sitting there and I'm staring at everybody with a blank expression. And they're all like, well? And I'm like, completely forgot that was I'm like, well, what? They're like, what is it? I'm like, it's a baby. And they're like, what's the sex, you idiot? And then the doctor,
It's a baby.
yeah, the doctor just feels sorry for me and is like, it's a girl. And I'm like, oh, right. That was my job.
Oh, that's funny, man.
So
That's
yeah,
super funny.
That was my experience.
Because she was early, they had like the heat cart thing, and like they were like giving her oxygen and stuff, and like pulled her into a different room when she was born. So I had to like go in between the rooms.
Oh, okay.
And like tell Rebecca how it was going, and like go back, and like they were telling me all this shit, and I was like,
right.
I don't know what the hell.
So you guys
saying.
didn't even get to really hold her right away, right? Like
They like put her on Rebecca,
yeah,
and then they like kind of like,
okay,
we're gonna
just like for that moment, and then it's like, hey, you gotta go now.
Yeah,
gotta fix this.
Yeah, no, she was good. She's breathing on her own and everything, but it was they were kind of like, I was in between rooms, and it's kind of interesting because she was born at the time which is my birthday, and actually a month. Sorry, not a month. It would have been 9 years to the day I was in the hospital across the street with my back injury. So it was kind of like
really?
It was almost like this full circle thing that my daughter was born like at this hospital.
That's crazy.
At the time of my birthday. It was cool. Very cool.
No shit.
There's no mistakes.
No doubt.
No, it's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was it's a baby.
It's a baby.
That's pretty funny.
Stuck on that one?
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
That is funny.
That's pretty crazy. That's a core memory for me, man. I like like a lot of that shit I blanked out, but like that specific one of me saying it's a baby will like go with me, will like haunt me forever, because I'm like, I had one job, like literally one job to do, and I fucked that up.
And that is why the podcast is called DadDum.
DadDum. Exactly. There
That's
you go.
Funny. Dude.
Oh shit. And then one of the dads was telling me that this was pretty funny too. He was saying that when he cut the umbilical cord.
Did you cut it?
No, I did not.
Oh, I did.
Did you?
I did.
Shit.
In my like,
did you bite it?
No, in my like complete it was like, you know, like scissors like don't cut.
Yeah.
You know, they like go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had to do it a couple times.
Times, and then you finally got it. You're just gnawing through it. It's like, why don't they give you sharp fucking scissors?
I know.
I feel like that's like.
I know.
That's like a normal thing that happens. Like, I feel like you're not the only person.
I know.
Maybe umbilical cords are just really tough.
They give you like safety scissors to do it?
Yeah.
Just to fuck with you?
Yeah. What? Why won't this work?
No, but I felt like I was going to like...
laughing at you.
I know that I did it because like I knew I would have like regretted to not do it, so I did it. You know, like...
I have no regrets, man.
No?
Yeah, I'm really glad I did not. And then after hearing this guy's story, I'm really glad I did not.
I just remembered going like... People know what I'm talking about. Like when you have like really dull scissors and it, like
and they just go sideways, kind of. It's like the umbilical cord just went like sideways, in it, right? Like it didn't cut at all. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. So this guy's telling us that when he cut the umbilical cord, it was like you ever got like when you've seen like a fire hose when it's like left unmanned. And it's just like going off. And it just like, he said that's what was happening. He's like, it's just spraying blood everywhere.
Oh, God.
Like, all over the place. It's like flipping around and stuff. I don't know what the like deal was with that or why, but he's like, there's blood everywhere. It looked like a horror movie in there afterwards.
It is pretty drastic. Like, yeah. It's a lot of blood.
I'm really glad I wasn't. I mean, just the freaking, like I said, the plunger in the head thing and like that kind of stuff. And I had zero desire to see like that baby coming out of there.
Yeah.
Like zero.
That's
mean, there's probably some dads that are just like, yeah, show it to me, man. I want to see all that. No, fuck that.
I was involved.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
you had it all. You were there.
I was involved
for all of it.
Yeah.
Well, good on you, man. Good on you. Couldn't do it.
It's a baby.
It's a baby.
That's so goddamn funny.
That's part of your thing, eh? We'll just be texting that to each other every once in a while now, eh? Yeah, so, fuck. What else?
Any other... what was I going to ask you? Did you, like, stop doing as much real estate when... in your first like year
did I stop doing
of being
what?
a dad? Like, did you like stop doing as much like work in the first year?
Because
I feel like I've pulled back like substantially.
I feel like, I'm trying to think now. I was trying to think of like how busy work was when Lily was born, and I can't really remember like what was going on in the real estate market at that time. Mm-hmm. I feel like it was like busy-ish, but not super, super busy.
Yeah.
So I think like I wanted to work more, but there wasn't a lot of work to be had.
Fair enough.
So, I don't think I was working like a lot. So it was kind of like, it kind of worked out good that way.
Yeah.
Just in the sense that, we were able to spend a lot of time, just not even by choice really, sort of thing. So
no, I definitely count myself quite lucky to be able to like be there. So
it's, it's one of the few things that I feel like it's like in our jobs. That's one of those things that I think is like one of the good aspects of it. Just to be able to have that no set schedule where nobody has to tell us what to do and we can be there. You know what I mean? So
amen to that.
I think that's why a lot of people actually get into this business, but then they don't realize that comes with a whole bunch of caveats that
it does
are like, kind of not as good either. But
maybe we'll talk about those one day.
We could hit on those one day. But I honestly, man, I feel like it was a combination of maybe I wasn't that busy, but even if I was, I would have like figured out a way to not like do anything just so that I could have been around anyway. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like I would have passed off work or whatever, right? Just to, because nothing was more important, I don't think, than that, like being around when she was, doing those firsts and being around for that kind of stuff. I did want to spend a lot of time.
It does set your priorities for sure. Like it definitely like shows you like what actually matters, what doesn't matter so much. Yeah. Like it is, it's very like kind of pulls the veil from your eyes for sure.
Oh yeah. So, totally.
No,
and I feel like one thing like for you guys, as you go through this process, you'll realize that it's such an interesting process of how like you're so like this life needs so much from you right now. And it's like, you need to do everything, like everything that you do, everything that you guys do right now is all about like the needs of this, of this thing. Yeah. And then it's just like progressively it'll get more and more where it will need you less and less. Yeah. But it'll need you more for other things.
In different ways.
It's such a weird transition because you feel liberated from the aspect of it's like, okay,
feeding and like changing.
I don't need to keep her alive anymore. You do to an extent, right? You'll always need to keep her alive, but I mean, like, you're not responsible for like the essence of her, just like, do you know what I mean? And
I know 100% what you mean. Yeah.
So it's really cool transition, man. Honestly, like that was probably one of the best parts of being a parent, was just like going through those stages of just like watching them grow out of this phase and into the next phase of life and that kind of thing. So,
and I do know that people are like, you'll go on like Reddit or something and like people will be like complaining about like this phase or whatever, or like losing themselves or whatever. And it's like, just be in the moment, like just be like, experience it. And I think that you would regret not being a part of it and actually like, seeing those big leaps, and they call them cognitive leaps in the pediatrician world or whatever. Oh, yeah. So they're like, the cognitive leap. And I like that cognitive leap. So
yeah. I honestly, I feel like I feel like I maybe did have a little bit of that. Like, I don't want to call it FOMO, but like, it's like, that, like fear, I guess, of that transition, right? The cognitive leaps of like when they're moving from one phase into another, right? It's like you're almost mourning the last phase that you're in, and you're like, because you get this sense of finality where you're like, shit, this is not going to happen again. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then once you realize that, you're like, okay, well, she said her first word. She's never going to say her first word again. So you miss that. And then you're like, I want that again. I want that again. And eventually you get to the point where, and this probably happened way like too late for me, is that you get to the point where you're just like you said, you're just happy to be in those moments, like to be there for the moments where you're just like, you're like, shit, I can't be like, if I'm so busy, like mourning the moments that have passed and are not going to happen again, then I'm not going to be present for the moments that are to come. Right. Because there's always a new one.
You want a deep statement that I made just this morning to Rebecca about this?
Fuck yeah.
I said, because she's kind of going through like a situation where obviously like you're becoming a mother and you're kind of like, there's a past life and a new life and whatever. And I was like, people mourn the summer and then forget to jump in the leaves in the autumn. And I was like, holy fuck, where did that come from?
That's going in the book.
Yeah, dude.
That's like, going in the book.
Dude, I 100%. I don't know where it came from, but I was like,
great though, man.
No, and I was like, that's super true. Because I think a lot of people, the whole nostalgia kick is like, the reason why nostalgia is so like painful is because you weren't living in the moment when you actually experienced it. And now you're like reliving that moment, but like could have actually been fully in it. And I think that's why nostalgia is like this painful experience for people.
Dude, that's breaking my brain right now. Oh my God. No, seriously. That's like, you're right. That's so deep and on so many levels too, because it's just making me think of like so many things about like different, you're right.
Yeah.
You're so right.
Yeah.
Frick. Or, I mean, what about the fact that maybe you were like, so in the moment that you were just like immersed in the love of what that was so much that you don't want to let that go.
It could very well be that too.
You know what I mean?
100%. Because I think that like, as we like get older, we're like worse at being in moments. And I think that like when you're younger, like, because obviously you think of nostalgia, like obviously this will be nostalgic for me.
Fuck yeah.
Like,
10
years down the road or whatever.
Sure.
But I think that like,
these are the good old days.
Well, dude, 100%. Right? Like these are the moments. And I think that when you realize that, like your life like gets a lot better.
Yeah. No, you're so right though. But that's a really hard switch to turn on.
It is.
Be like, I'm enjoying this moment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I still struggle with that. Like to be like, I'm in that moment right now, because like, I mean, take conversations with Lily, for example, right? I knew I was there. I was like fully into those moments. And I was like, I knew what this was about. I was 100% here for it. Like me and Lily were having these conversations and I was like, this is it, man. This is the thing.
Yeah.
Right. And there was even a part of me that like knew that was going to come to an end at some point. So if you listen to like some of our earlier podcasts, there's a couple of times when I actually talk about which we'll go into detail on this on another podcast, but like we go into like, I talked about the moment that I realized that she's like, I'm losing my little girl. Like she's like going away from me.
Yeah.
Which has happened now at this point. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's like that I like predicted the future. It came to fruition. It happened. And I'm like, and if I go back and listen to this podcast, I'm talking to Lily about it on the podcast. And I'm like crying while I'm talking about it. And Lily's crying just because I'm crying because she's so sad that like I'm sad. And she went through this phase where she hated when I cried, right? Because she's such an empath that she just like anything that bugs me or Stacey, she would just get mad about it. Her reaction would be to get upset versus like, be sad. So I used to like try to like hide emotion when I was like my emotion and stuff because I didn't want to make her sad. Right. And it's crazy because like going back, like circling back to like what you're talking about like being in these moments and then mourning them, like now, even now, I still have like these moments of mourning for the nostalgia of that podcast and like having those moments because like I was so immersed in it. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I had all my feelings wrapped up in that, and I never knew when it was going to end. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it was like, and then actually having it end, and then, you know what I mean, being prepared for it and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
now I'm mourning it because I'm like, well, that chapter's done.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But it's also, I feel like it happened. You get to be grateful for the fact that it did.
Yeah.
And then you realize like everything is just a moment.
Totally.
And it's like,
Yeah.
wow.
And now it's time, and now's a new season, and
Yeah.
now it's time to make new moments, right?
Yeah.
This is our
Absolutely.
new moment, right? And I have a different relationship with Lily now too, right? That was a hard one for me to get past, right? Was to get over the fact that it's like, okay, my little girl who, you know what I mean, looked up to me for everything, and like I was her world and all that kind of stuff, and now transitioning into like, oh, we're in junior high now, going into grade 8. Tomorrow's the first day of school.
Yeah.
For grade 8.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's like, shit, this is like totally different. Now her friends are her life, and you know what I mean? Like all that revolves around her and stuff like that. And I mean, there's still a place for dad, but it's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not as big as big in her world as I used to be, right?
No,
And
that makes total
that
sense.
transition is that's a tough one, man. I do not envy you when that happens, but I'm like, fuck, I hope we're still doing this at that point, because I really would love to see like how that plays out for you, right?
Yeah.
Like to see like how that goes. If you can do what you say and be like, oh, I'm in the moment, and then she like makes that switch, and then you're like, okay, well now I'm in a new moment, right? So
it's I do already feel like this has gone by so fast that like, I feel like I'm going to blink and it will be that point.
Well, you will.
Yeah.
You will. Oh, dude. And like, that's the thing. It's like you hear, like when you're talking to friends and stuff like that, you know, and you're like, you know, there's always those cliches. It's like, oh, it goes by so fast. Well, you know what? It fucking does, man.
Yeah.
It really does. You know? And I mean, like, again, another podcast episode will like hit up my epiphany with Lily.
For sure.
Like when like she turned 8, I had a big one, and that like changed the trajectory of like how I wanted my relationship to be with her and stuff. So but yeah, that's for another one anyway.
Dude, that was a deep one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, dude.
I didn't know we were going to go that direction.
We got some nuggets out of
Yeah.
that bad boy, hey? Sound bites.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna work on, we need an intro for this podcast.
Yes.
But we probably can't get that till we get a few episodes and some sound bites and stuff.
But I think we're going to grab a couple from this one.
I think we're gonna need to, for sure. Cause like,
That's a baby.
it's a baby.
Jeez.
What is it, Rob? It's a baby.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
To be a fly on the wall on that one.
Oh my God. And everybody's laughing. The doctor's laughing. Stacy's laughing. Actually, I think Stacey was mad. I think Stacey was like annoyed. Now that I think back about it, I'm like, Allison was definitely laughing. Stacey was like, you're an idiot. And the doctor was like laughing, and then he's the one who like told everybody.
That's funny.
Thanks for stealing my thunder, you jerk. Yeah. So, okay. Well, we got, what time are we at? Why does it say 1:27?
Because I think you recorded over the last one, so we got both
erased it.
That's okay. 45 minutes already.
Is this 1:45?
Dude.
Oh, nice.
2:45
Two
minutes.
45ers. Wow.
That's how it's done.
All right, man. Well, should we wrap this bad boy up?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, there's Josh's story, and I guess mine all wrapped up into one episode with our birth stories and some nuggets in between.
Nice.
All right, brother. Peace.
Peace.